Hey guys, welcome to our first flipped classroom video. In this video, we're going to reinforce what we went over today in class, which is distance versus displacement. And you should have your guided practice worksheet and your grid paper we passed out in class today to complete as we go along. And I will be saying pause throughout it to allow you to do your calculations, or you can pause it anytime, rewind it. You can work at your own pace. So, some first things we need to know about our grid paper. Each unit or square is going to be a half a mile. So that's a half a mile. That will be 1 mile. That will be a mile and a half. And that will be 2 miles. So, we're going to take a trip through the woods looking for some buried treasure. So out here somewhere there's some buried treasure that we need to find. And we're going to start at trail marker A on our grid paper, which is right down here in the bottom. So right there is our trail marker A, and it's also labeled on your grid paper as A. So we're going to have a radio in at all of our predetermined rest times to let the rescue team know where we are. And rumor has it that there's some pirates been spotted in the area, so we're going to look out. And they're searching for the same buried treasure we are. But we got a few tools that we can take care of them if the problem arises. Okay, so we're going to start our journey by walking 16 miles north to trail marker B. And this right here is our little compass, so that way there is pointing is north. So that's our north. So we're going to walk 16 miles. And remember our scale that 1 square is a half a mile. So you can go ahead and pause the video if you want to and fill out your grid paper. So now we want to know what's the distance that we have traveled. So we should have labeled our part on the map with a B. So we want to know what's the distance that we've traveled, and also what is the displacement from our reference point. So go ahead and write that down right now. So once we've rested at trail marker B, we're supposed to turn east and walk 9 miles to trail marker C. And when we get here, it's going to be a little harder math, so you can pause and rewind like we talked about before. Arrgh. Oh guys, we got a pirate. So we need to take care of him before we move on. So we got a lightsaber here. We're just going to take care of him so we can get back to our reference points and distance. Arrgh, arrgh. Alright, that was a close one though, but we're good. Okay, so now, once we've rested it, okay, we've traveled our 9 miles east, so you should label that point C there. So now we're going to do the distance, total distance traveled. So you can figure that up real quick. And that should be pretty easy, but now our displacement from our reference point is going to be a little more difficult. So think of it like this. Connect your point A to point C, like so. And what does that make? That makes our right triangle. So we've talked about this a little bit in class. How do we find our hypotenuse? So if this down here is A and this is B, well, we know the distance from here to here. That's our distance traveled from number 2. And we know from here to here, That's our distance traveled we just did. So if we know two legs of a right triangle, we can figure out that hypotenuse. So see if you guys remember this. We did a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And that was our Pythagorean theorem. So we take our a that we have down here at the bottom, and we square it. Then we'll take our b over here, and we'll square that. And then that's going to give us our c squared. So that's going to give us this distance right here. It'll give us c squared. So then we have to take the square root of our answer because that's our answer squared. We just want our answer. So we take the square root of c squared, and then we'll get our displacement. Okay, this next part here is just bonus. So we're not going to really work it in the video, but it says after a short rest, we need to move on from trail marker C, move 7 miles due south. At this point, we're going to stop and eat lunch. I brought me some mac and cheese and sandwich. You can have whatever you want. Get you a cheeseburger. I like Bosco sticks every once in a while. Get you some Bosco sticks. So we're going to stop and eat lunch. So just try this problem with our distance traveled. You should be able to do the distance traveled. The displacement from our reference point on this one is going to be a little more difficult. So just try it and we'll go over it in class. This is just a bonus. Uh-oh, guys, we got another pirate. He's got our treasure, so we really need to take care of him real quick. So this time, I think we're going to use us a red lightsaber. We may need two for him as well. Let's take care of him real quick. Arr. Alright, finally. No more pirates. We got our treasure. So now we just need to know our distance traveled and the displacement from our reference point. And our reference point is always going to be down there at A for this activity. So right there's our reference point still. So we want to know the distance traveled and the displacement from our reference point. And once you have that finished, just bring it to class tomorrow. And we're going to start us a new lab outside. So we'll see you tomorrow. Hope you liked it. Okay, so let's review real quick of what we learned. We learned that motion is a change in position relative to a frame of reference. And we can measure a change position by finding or calculating the distance, which is a measure of the path, and the displacement, which is a measure from point A to point B. So now we have to measure motion relative to time. And this is what we're going to start next. So we know our displacement and distance. We have that down. So now we're going to add time in there. So we'll see you in class tomorrow.